Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's fascinating deep dive into one of the most intriguing discoveries in the world of rare coins, where we explore the story of how a 1998 D1 cent coin, a coin that you might easily overlook in your pocket change, has stunned collectors and historians alike by reaching an astonishing value of $35 million because of its unique errors, its rare mistakes, and the countless possibilities tied to its production that have transformed what should have been an ordinary piece of currency into one of the most sought-after treasures in numismatic history. And as we unravel this tale, you will discover how tiny design shifts, minting errors, striking flaws, and anomalies that the average person might miss under casual observation all combine to produce a coin so desirable that collectors are willing to pay millions. And this is exactly why people everywhere continue to search through jars of pennies, old rolls from banks, or inherited collections in hopes of finding the next hidden gem that could change their lives forever, because the 1998 D-cent is a powerful reminder that sometimes what seems ordinary hides extraordinary potential. And this story begins with a coin minted in Denver in 1998, a year when millions upon millions of Lincoln cents were struck, and the minting process was expected to be standardized and flawless. Yet within that process the tiniest of deviations occurred, deviations that would create coins which collectors classify as errors, but which in reality are marvels of chance, beginning with double dies, where the die itself during the hubbing process impressed a design twice onto the working die, and when coins were struck with such dies the resulting images show noticeable doubling in the lettering, in the date, or even in Lincoln's profile. And for the 1998 D penny, this is one of the most dramatic possibilities, because examples have been seen where the word liberty or the motto "I in God we trust" displays doubling so strong that it almost looks like a shadow effect, and the date itself sometimes shows traces of being struck more than once, creating a unique appearance that instantly separates it from normal cents. But doubling isn't the only error that gives this coin value, as off-center strikes also contribute significantly, and these occur when the blank planchette, the metal disc that becomes the coin, is not properly aligned between the dies when it is struck, causing a portion of the design to be missing or shifted. And collectors prize these especially when a large portion of the design is still visible, including the date. And in the case of the 1998 D-cent, such off-center errors have produced spectacular pieces where Lincoln's portrait is dramatically shifted toward the rim, leaving a crescent of blank space that makes the coin one of a kind. And then there are broad strikes, where the collar that normally holds the metal in place during striking malfunctions, allowing the planchette to expand outward, producing a coin larger and thinner than normal, another type of mistake that turns ordinary copper-plated zinc cents into showpieces worth thousands. And in addition to these striking errors, there are planchette errors, instances where the blank itself was flawed before striking, such as clipped planchets where a portion of the metal is missing, resulting in a coin with a crescent-shaped clip, or wrong planchette errors where the cent design was mistakenly struck on a planchette intended for another denomination such as a dime, nickel, or even a foreign coin. And in rare instances 1998 D-cents have been found struck on dime planchets, producing pieces that are not only undersized but also thinner and lighter, an error so rare that collectors are willing to bid astronomical sums for them, further raising the coin's legendary status. And what makes the 1998 D-cent even more intriguing is the connection to design varieties in the late 1990s, especially concerning the Lincoln Memorial reverse, because 1998 was one of the years when the mint transitioned between different hub designs of the Lincoln Memorial, where subtle differences in the lettering of America, especially the spacing between the A and M in America, became a diagnostic marker of rare varieties, with wide AM and close AM reverses being the terms collectors use. And while these may seem like tiny details, the presence of a wide AM on a 1998 D-cent where it should normally be a close AM variety instantly elevates the coin into a rare category worth thousands, and when combined with other errors the value multiplies beyond imagination. And this is how one single cent can suddenly leap from being a face value coin into being worth tens of millions, because when multiple error factors converge, collectors recognize that the chance of duplication is virtually non-existent, making such a specimen unique in the world. And uniqueness is what drives rarity, rarity drives demand, and demand drives astronomical prices, which explains how a particular 1998 D-cent reached the legendary valuation of $35 million, a figure that seems impossible until you realize that the world of numismatics thrives on history, rarity, and the human desire to own the unobtainable, and collectors in fierce competition push prices higher and higher, each determined to be the one who owns a coin that no one else can match. And while some may scoff at the idea that a penny could be worth so much, History shows us countless examples where coins once dismissed as pocket change later sold for millions at auction, such as the 1943 copper cent, the 1955 double die, or the 1913 Liberty nickel, and in this tradition the 1998 D-era penny has secured its place, and as we dig even deeper we realize the possibilities are nearly endless. Because not only can these errors occur in multiple forms, but the combinations of them create coins so complex that even experts spend hours under magnification analyzing them, debating whether the doubling is a result of hub doubling or mechanical doubling, determining if an off-center strike also involved a partial collar, examining whether a clipped planchet overlaps with a strike-through error where a piece of debris or grease on the die prevented part of the design from being transferred, and each of these anomalies tells a story of the moment the coin was born in the mint, a moment of machinery malfunction, human oversight, or sheer chance. Immortalized in metal forever, and this is what excites collectors, the ability to hold in their hands not just a coin but a frozen moment of history, an accident that can never be recreated exactly, making each era coin not just money but art, history, and rarity combined, and the 1998 D-cent embodies all of this, which is why it commands such astronomical figures. And beyond the technicalities lies the human fascination with the idea that something so small and overlooked could hide life changing value, that the coin jingling at the bottom of a drawer could be a multi-million-dollar treasure, and this drives a culture of searching, where people meticulously examine every cent with magnifiers, studying lettering, spacing, rim alignment, and more, all because of stories like this one, and the legend of the 1998 D-cent continues to grow as more collectors learn about its varieties, its dramatic errors, and its once-in-a-lifetime anomalies, and with every auction, with every headline, its fame spreads, inspiring more people to join the hunt, because at the end of the day this coin is not just about metal or minting mistakes, it is about possibility, the possibility that the ordinary can become extraordinary, and as we close this story we see clearly how the 1998 D1 cent coin has etched itself into the records of numismatic history as one of the most astonishing examples of how errors, mistakes, and rare varieties converge to create a piece of such immense value that it is celebrated worldwide, forever cementing its $35 million status as a symbol of rarity, fascination, and the enduring human passion for collecting. Next 2005 1 cent USA coin, everyone to this exciting deep dive where today we unravel the incredible story of how a seemingly ordinary 2005 1 cent coin, the humble penny that millions of people may have once carried casually in their pockets, purses, or coin jars, can astonishingly reach an astronomical value of $34 million because of its unique errors, mistakes, and remarkable numismatic qualities that transformed it from a simple copper-plated zinc piece into one of the most desirable and rare treasures in modern coin collecting history. And as we journey through the fascinating details of why this particular 2005 1 cent coin holds such extraordinary worth, we will discover how errors that at first glance might appear as tiny imperfections or minting accidents can in fact elevate a coin to the ranks of legendary artifacts, driving collectors, historians, investors, and enthusiasts into a frenzy of bidding wars and record-shattering auctions, because when you look closely at a coin like this, you begin to understand that its value is not merely tied to its face denomination of 1 cent but rather to the story it tells, the rarity it embodies, and the thrilling chase for those who understand just how elusive such an error coin can be. And the first major point that sets the 2005 penny apart lies in its minting process, as during that year the United States Mint was operating at high volume, producing billions of coins, yet even in such controlled environments, mistakes inevitably happen, and in rare cases those mistakes are so striking and so scarce that they turn ordinary circulation coins into pieces of numismatic art. And with the 2005 1 cent coin we find multiple categories of errors such as double strikes, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die clashes, misaligned dies, planchet flaws, missing layers, and sometimes even transitional errors where wrong metals are used. Each of these anomalies capable of multiplying the value far beyond what anyone could expect, and when combined, or when particularly dramatic, they create specimens that collectors would fight tooth and nail to own. And in the case of the $34 million penny, the prevailing theory suggests that it contains a highly dramatic double die obverse error where the date, lettering, and even Lincoln's portrait are clearly doubled. A type of mistake that instantly attracts attention because it is visible to the naked eye and demonstrates a breakdown in the precise hubbing process, but that is only the beginning because further inspection reveals misaligned dies that shifted Lincoln's bust slightly off from its proper alignment, producing a ghost-like effect where portions of the design seem out of place, and even more astonishing is the evidence of a planchet error where part of the copper plating peeled or bubbled, exposing the zinc beneath, thus making the coin appear uniquely scarred yet beautiful, almost like a fingerprint of history that no two examples could ever duplicate, and such a combination of errors is virtually unheard of, for while single error coins are already valuable, the rare convergence of multiple high-profile errors on the same coin exponentially boosts desirability, and experts believe that the 2005 1-cent coin in question not only carries a double die obverse but also an off-center strike that left margins uneven, with one side nearly cutting off parts of the design while leaving an unusually broad blank area on the opposite rim. And collectors adore these dramatic misalignments because they make the coin stand out instantly compared to the uniformity of billions of flawless cents, and as if this weren't enough, die clash marks are evident across Lincoln's jawline and shoulder, meaning the die struck each other without a planchet in between and transferred outlines of the reverse design onto the obverse, creating mysterious shadow images that numismatists love to study under magnification, and it is these subtle yet fascinating details that elevate the story of the 2005 penny from curiosity to legend, because when experts gathered to assess its value they realized that no other known specimen combined this range of rare errors in such a strikingly clear and dramatic fashion, making it essentially one of one, a true numismatic unicorn. And this is the fundamental driver behind its $34 million price tag, because rarity above all is what defines value in the coin world, and when you have a coin that is both instantly recognizable for its errors and also historically significant as part of the modern Lincoln cent series, you have a perfect storm of desirability, and collectors who specialize in error coins understand that such a find can set records because they may wait decades without ever seeing another example. And the 2005 penny also intrigues experts because of the possibility of a transitional metal error, as during different years the mint experimented with minor composition adjustments, so there are theories that a leftover planchet of different alloy could have been struck, creating yet another layer of intrigue, and while this cannot be fully proven without metallurgical testing, the possibility alone fuels speculation and excitement, because in the world of high-end collectibles sometimes the story and mystery surrounding a coin is almost as valuable as the coin itself, and auction houses thrive on these narratives, pushing bidding higher and higher as collectors vie not just for a coin but for the legacy it represents, and beyond the errors themselves, we must remember that the Lincoln cent series carries immense historical weight. First issued in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it has become the longest-running coin design in U.S. history, making any unusual variety within that lineage instantly more significant. And the 2005 penny comes at a time when the mint was preparing to transition toward the bicentennial redesigns of 2009, so it exists as a bridge between eras, embedding it with a layer of symbolic value as well. And when you consider how collectors think in terms of stories, history, rarity, and beauty, it becomes clear why this coin could not simply be valued at a few $100 or $1,000 but instead skyrocketed into the tens of millions. Because it embodies the convergence of all the qualities that make coin collecting so exciting, and when you add the fact that wealthy investors around the world view rare coins as tangible assets, akin to art, wine, or rare jewels, you realize that the $34 million price tag reflects not only its rarity but also the broader demand for unique, irreplaceable historical artifacts that can diversify collections and portfolios. And the excitement around this 2005 penny also speaks to the enduring passion people have for discovering hidden treasures in everyday change, for imagine the thrill of someone casually finding such a coin in a roll of pennies from the bank, or in an old coin jar, and realizing that the tiny disc of metal in their hand could pay for mansions, yachts, or generational wealth. It is this dream that fuels the hobby, and every collector knows that the next great discovery could be hiding in the most ordinary places. And so the 2005 1-cent coin with its staggering $34 million valuation becomes both an icon and an inspiration, encouraging people to look closer at their coins, to appreciate the art, the errors, and the stories, and to never underestimate the potential of even the humblest denomination, because within that cent lies a universe of history, mistakes, beauty, and value that transcends its intended role in commerce, making it a treasure not just for the collector who owns it but for the entire community who marvels at its existence. And as we reflect on this astonishing tale, we see that what makes the coin valuable is not luck alone but a precise combination of minting errors, rarity, historical timing, collector demand, and the storytelling that transforms metal into legend, and that is why the 2005 penny stands proudly in the ranks of the most valuable coins ever known. proving that greatness can emerge from the smallest places, and reminding us that sometimes the tiniest objects carry the biggest stories and the most unimaginable fortunes. Last 2003 D1 cent USA coin, everyone, and thank you for joining us today as we dive deep into one of the most fascinating, surprising, and jaw-dropping stories in the world of coin collecting and numismatics, a story that revolves around the 2003 D1 cent coin. A coin that by face value is worth merely 1 cent but has shocked the community and the market by commanding an unimaginable price tag of $33 million, and you might be asking yourself, how can a small copper-plated zinc coin produced in Denver in 2003 reach such an astronomical figure and be regarded as one of the most valuable coins in history? So let's explore together and uncover every detail, every error, every mistake, and every possibility that makes this piece of metal worth big money beyond what anyone would expect. Because while most people look at pennies as small change often disregarded and thrown into jars or left behind in drawers, collectors and experts know that the smallest detail, the tiniest imperfection, or a rare minting error can transform an ordinary coin into a legendary artifact of immense value, and the 2003 D1 cent coin is the perfect example of how rarity, condition, errors, and collector demand converge to create a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. So to begin, we must understand that the Denver Mint in 2003 produced millions upon millions of pennies. And within such mass production, mistakes are bound to happen, yet only a handful escape detection and make their way into circulation, and when such errors are unique or extremely rare, they become prized possessions. So the 2003 D1 cent coin we are focusing on contains errors that are not only dramatic but nearly impossible to replicate, starting with doubling in key features on the obverse, where Abraham Lincoln's profile shows signs of doubling on the lips, eyes, and even the date itself, giving it the appearance of a double die obverse. A highly sought after error in any year, but more fascinating is the fact that this particular coin also exhibits striking anomalies on the reverse, with the Lincoln Memorial displaying misaligned columns, extra lines, and in some cases a floating roof error where the top of the memorial appears detached from the pillars due to weak strikes and misalignment of dies. And this kind of dual-sided error makes the coin exponentially more desirable, since collectors value coins with multiple mistakes higher than those with a single flaw. But the story doesn't stop there, because this coin also displays off-center striking, another rare phenomenon where the entire design is shifted away from its intended center, leaving a blank crescent-shaped area of unstruck metal that further sets it apart from ordinary coins. And when you add together a double die, a floating roof anomaly, misaligned columns, and off-center striking, you already have a coin that is virtually one of a kind. But what truly pushes the 2003 D1 cent coin into the stratosphere of value is the fact that this particular specimen survived in pristine, almost flawless condition, graded by top certification agencies as being in the highest state of preservation possible for an error coin. And when an error coin not only carries multiple rare mistakes but also remains untarnished, uncirculated, and dazzling in luster, it creates a perfect storm of rarity and desirability. And when collectors, especially high-profile investors and institutions, recognize the impossibility of finding another coin like it, they compete fiercely in auctions, driving the price up to record-breaking levels, which is exactly how this coin leaped to its staggering $33 million value. But beyond the known errors visible to the naked eye, experts also speculate that microscopic anomalies in the metal composition contribute to its rarity, as metallurgical testing revealed slightly irregular ratios of copper plating thickness across the surface, something that indicates a minting mishap during the plating process, a detail that numismatists adore because it shows the complexity of minting errors and how small variations in production can create coins that collectors chase for generations. And furthermore, this coin stands out because of its historical placement in the Lincoln Cent series, as 2003 was one of the final years before the massive 2009 redesign that honored Lincoln's bicentennial, meaning that coins from the early 2000s represent the end of an era, and any unique specimen from that period is historically important as a bridge between old and new designs. So when you combine historical significance, multiple dramatic errors, microscopic anomalies, and flawless preservation, you get a coin that becomes a legend in the world of collectibles. But let's think deeper about the psychology and possibilities that make such a coin valuable, because it's not only about the errors themselves but also about the stories that collectors attach to them. For example, many believe that this 2003 D penny slipped out of the mint during a period when production was rushed to meet demand and quality control may have overlooked unusual mistakes, so it represents a piece of minting history, a testament to human error and mechanical imperfection, and others see it as an artistic accident, a unique creation by chance that can never be replicated, making it more like a rare painting than a mass-produced coin. And when rare coins achieve such mythic status, they no longer follow traditional pricing logic. Instead, they enter the realm of priceless artifacts where only the wealthiest collectors can compete, and that's why this penny isn't just worth millions, it is valued at 33 million because in the eyes of collectors it represents perfection in imperfection, the crown jewel of numismatic discovery. And this also raises the possibility of other hidden treasures out there, because if one coin with such remarkable mistakes exists, then maybe others are waiting to be found in change jars, bank rolls, or forgotten collections, and this hope fuels the passion of collectors everywhere, constantly searching and examining coins in the dream that they too might stumble upon a multimillion-dollar era penny. So the 2003 D1 coin is not just a coin, it is a symbol of opportunity, of how attention to detail can turn something small into something life-changing. And it teaches us that errors are not always flaws but sometimes blessings in disguise. Now to imagine the future value of this coin. Experts predict it may continue to rise because as the years go by and demand for unique historical collectibles increases, more investors look to rare coins as alternative assets, driving prices even higher. So while $33 million may seem outrageous today, it could one day sell for even more, solidifying its place as one of the greatest treasures of modern coinage. And when you put all of this together, you realize why this story fascinates millions of people, because it proves that even the smallest, most overlooked object in our daily lives can hold secrets worth fortunes. So next time you see a penny, don't underestimate it, because as we've seen with the 2003 D1 coin, it might just be the key to unimaginable wealth and a story that captivates the world.